our generator's in a pretty bad state, so